And I have one short announcement to add to that. The folks at United Paws have asked me to share that they have a spay-neuter clinic coming up this Saturday in Halem, and they don't have, oddly enough, they don't have enough animals to spay and neuter in order to hold the clinic. So if you are looking for low-cost spay-neuter for your cat or dog, give them a call. 842-5663 is the telephone number, or you can reach them via email. It's United Paws Spay Neuter at gmail.com. United Paws Spay Neuter at gmail.com. If you need help getting a hold of them, just call me here at the station and I'll get you in touch with them. Okay. Time for Tillamook today. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, and happy birthday, Maria.
You
Are you 21? You gonna
yes.
Go, you gonna go
yes,
out
I am.
today?
I'm going to go No, I'm going to go home and go to bed like I always do.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank
Hope
you.
it's a great one.
Thank you.
Good morning. I am here with Brett Hurliman from the Rotary.
Good morning.
And other things.
And other things.
Yes, Brett from other things.
Not from the police log, though.
No, well,
that's
good.
the only one.
I know. We don't really put the police log in the paper.
Yeah, but we all know what it was,
fun.
so it's still fun
True.
to reference.
It's all on Facebook.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's all on Facebook anymore, so it doesn't matter. Rotary's got a big thing coming up this weekend.
Rotary has a huge thing coming
Super
up this
fun.
weekend. It
Let's
is
talk about it.
lot of fun. You want the details?
I suppose.
Okay.
Well, I got to know where I'm supposed to go.
$15,000 there. Let's start with that.
Ooh.
So over the course of the last year, we've been running some of these events, and we just gave away $15,000 to local charities.
Awesome.
So I always like to start with that. So people come to this, they have fun, but at the end of the day, it's actually still charity, and it's doing good works within the community.
Fundraising. It's
absolutely,
a fundraiser.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's start with the fun in the fundraising.
Sure.
So it starts at it's comedy. And it's gold raffle, and it's all kinds of fun stuff. Food and drink. Mm-hmm. So we start at 5:30 at the Pelican Tap Room, and the Pelican has been fabulous to us. They opened up their doors, and they're letting us come in. They're giving us
downstairs, right?
Downstairs, yes, mm-hmm. yes. We took over the downstairs area, and people say, "Well, how do you fit?" Because last time we had about 250 people in there.
It fits. It's
it does.
A little shoulder to shoulder, but it works.
And they keep moving vats in because for some reason they think they need to brew beer or something. I don't know. And I keep telling them, hey, you're taking up my floor space.
Yeah.
But with the new building, they said they're going to have the bottling lines out of there, and they're getting rid of the cooler. So I haven't been in there in the last couple of days, but there should be a little bit more room than it looked like a couple weeks ago, and I was a little stressed. So we go in there, and they're making like corned beef sliders, and they're making
their food is phenomenal.
It is.
I've been to Rotary events before.
Oh, absolutely.
Man, their food, and then you get quote unquote samples of beer.
You get That's
like a 16-ounce cup.
Right, and I think we did cut that back a little bit, so it's only like 10, 12 ounces this time per sample. But yeah, so you get to do that for 2 hours, play around with that, and also Mark and Sue from Whiskey Creek Shellfish, the oysters, they're bringing in oysters, so we're going to have oysters if that's your thing, and all that's included in the price. We're going to have fun, and we're just talking. Music's going to be playing by Brent McCune, and we just have a good time there, and that's really the pre-function. So that goes...
Wait, Brent plays music?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh,
He works at the Pelican,
yes,
right?
he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
He and I were just emailing about something else. I didn't realize that he did music.
Oh, yeah. So for many, many years, we bring him in. He brings his guitar, and it's
Very
just
cool.
kind of nice background music.
Sure.
It's not overwhelming. We can still talk, but it's just a really nice addition. So yeah, we've got quite a team that does all this. And then at 7:30, we put everybody's name in a hat, and we draw it out, and that person wins.
Yes.
And that person wins. It's either $1,000 cash, or Tom from Diamond Art is there, Tom and Annelle, and they will have gold. And so it will be at least $1,000 worth of gold, and you can, if you don't want the cash, you can pick the gold. So last year he had a lot of watches and necklaces, in combinations of things, $1,500, $2,000 that you could get, because he's willing to kick in a little bit as well as his donation. So once we do that, that ends the 7:30 part, and then we're all migrating over to the Elks. And then, so we're giving ourselves about an hour to get over there comfortably and get your drink in hand and sit down. And then we're bringing in comics from I think these two are from Seattle. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. And you got to remember, I've known these guys for years and years.
Because you used to do stand-up comedy.
Back, yeah, in the
Which
early 90s.
Which is funny, because I want to talk about how you went from comedy to what you do now. But anyway,
Yeah.
because that's quite a leap. But go ahead, keep
It
talking.
wasn't, hey, in a down market, it helps to be able to make people laugh.
Sure, yes.
Right, and so like Vince Valenzuela, the headliner, the first time I worked with him, I was looking back, and it was in '93, and we were working in up in Canada, in British Columbia, at Laugh Lines. And so these are guys that I've known for literally decades. After I got out of it about 2000, I haven't seen them in like 15 years.
Yeah.
So this is fun that both Joe and Vince coming back. This is a lot of fun for me as well.
Oh, sure.
And if you've been to the comedy shows before, we put on some really nice comedy shows because I'm able to twist some of these guys' arms and say, hey, come back here. It's a fundraiser.
You got connections.
And yeah, we've had some really nice shows here that are as high a quality as anything you're going to see. It's always fun for me afterwards, the next weekend, when people come in and talk to me. And I've had a lot of times people come in and say, we've been to Vegas, we've been to Reno, we've been all over, we've been down to California and seen shows. This was the best show we've seen.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's like, yes, just because we're in Tillamook doesn't mean that people can't come here.
Right.
You just got to find the right leverage.
That you're offering that type of entertainment around here.
And I think we need it. And that was part of the thing.
Everybody needs to laugh.
Right. So at the Elks, I should say also, our goal, this is all concept, our goal then is to have more dessert-oriented stuff at the Elks to kind of snack on. So bottom line, when you pay, it's $40 for the entire night.
Right.
So
per person ticket, right?
Per ticket. But that gets you, entertainment from 5:30 all the way till 10:30.
Right.
So
With
5
a
hours,
chance to win $1,000.
With a chance to win $1,000. And that gets you beer at the pub, that gets you food.
And wine, and
It's not a really expensive evening. And sometimes people, I'll have them and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. It's like, go to a movie sometime.
Right.
Go to just a dinner.
Yeah.
And
again, it's a fundraiser and it's for a good cause. So it's not like you're just blowing $40 to go to the event. I mean, you're raising money for something.
Right. And then again, back to that, where we are committed to giving $15,000 a year minimum. And so we were able to give money to things like the backpack program to help kids that are on the edge have things like food on the weekends and dental supplies and Augie's Hope. I don't know if you're familiar with that for autistic children.
Yeah.
Giving some money to that, and we're able to go through and really make a difference on the back end as well. So it's nice to raise money, but actually have a good time and not have it to where we're having to sit there and beat people over the head the whole time of, hey, give more money, give more money.
Right. Well,
no,
because sometimes you go to fundraising things, and not that when you go and that's going to happen, it's not a big deal. But sometimes when you go to a fundraiser, not only did you pay to have a seat, but then there's a silent auction, and then there's a raffle, and then they're doing like people walking around trying to sell things, and so you're shelling out more money.
So full disclosure on that, we don't do a silent auction because we decided.
Are you doing the envelopes though?
We think we're going to do the envelopes.
Yeah, those
again.
are kind of fun,
and
it's $20. I mean. Right?
Yeah.
And
you're guaranteed to get at least $20 worth of stuff. Because what we did with that is, instead of doing a silent auction item, we go out and we try to get small items, $20 to $30 kind of thing, and then one big ticket item.
Yeah.
And then, so we'll have 50 envelopes, and we'll put them up for sale. And anybody that wants these for $20, it's a grab bag. Who knows what you're going to get? You may get a $20 certificate from Sunflower Flats. You may get a $25 gift certificate from the Rendezvous. Or last year, the big prize was football tickets to one of the college games.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get. So we try to do that. We limit it to only 50 of them. Boom, you do it. And we try to have a little bit more fun with that.
Yeah.
We've also historically done the cards when people come in, which is basically we have a gift certificate for the same price as a keg. So you win a keg. But for some reason, OLCC won't let us give away beer. But we can give away a gift certificate. So we have a deck of cards.
Oh, right.
And then as people come in, and I think I went for $10 a card. I don't remember.
Like
and so you can buy a card, and when those 52 cards are gone, we draw a thing, and if your card matches, you win.
Right.
And we try to make that quick. We try to make that fast. The cards go fast, but we don't want to have it to where people are constantly hitting you up for things.
Right.
But that one, I actually started that because as people were waiting in line to get in, because everybody shows up. We had 250 people show up.
Yeah. Line out the door.
And it's like, we've got to do something to entertain people.
Right.
So we grabbed a deck of cards, and that's what we did. And they went so fast. and people had so much fun that we decided let's start doing that on an annual basis. So I would expect we'll do that again.
And who doesn't want to win a keg of beer? I mean, a gift certificate for a keg of beer.
For $160 at the Pelican. But honestly, if you don't have a kegerator and you just want to buy it one glass at a time, you've got $160 worth of beer
One glass at a time.
That's fine.
We're going to take a quick break and talk about Clark's Plumbing. Do you know one of those do-it-yourself kind of guys? They're always telling you to do it yourself. Sometimes that isn't the best solution. You're in luck, whether it's a leaky faucet, a complete bathroom remodel, or maybe replacing that septic system. Do yourself a favor. Call Clark's Plumbing. They're professionals. They'll get the job done. Anything, new installations, upgrades, that stopped-up drain, you name it, they can do it. So the next time you hear do it yourself, do yourself a favor and dial 842-5105 for Clark's Plumbing. That's 842-5105 for the professionals at Clark's Plumbing. So we're here talking to Brett Hurliman, who is an Edward Jones financial planner. Do tell me how you went from comedy to financial planning, because that seems like such a 180.
It was a little odd.
Yes.
So,
did you always want to do stuff with numbers?
I love. Oh, absolutely, math. My SAT scores in math were through the roof, and I love math.
That's interesting. You have a little bit of the left brain, right brain.
I do, and it's really it's bizarre, and I'm never sure where I fit there. So you also have to remember background. My mom worked for U.S. Bank for years, would sell annuities and that kind of thing. So growing up around the dinner table, we'd be talking about investing.
Interesting.
So from the time I was really little, I always believed that the best way to make your money in the long run was quality stocks, quality bonds, that kind of thing. Sounds like I'm going off on a commercial now.
I know.
But anyway, it wasn't the intent.
You're passionate about it, and that shows.
I am, and I firmly believe that. So growing up, little things of Grandpa would make fun of me. We'd go to the store, and he'd say, here, I'll give you 50 cents for a candy bar, a quarter back then. And I'd look at it and think, well, I'd rather have the quarter because I could get something else. A candy bar is kind of a short term. So I'd put the quarter in my pocket.
Oh, funny.
So that went on for years, and then finally Grandpa was like, I understand what you're doing, I appreciate it, but I want you to have a candy bar. So he'd give me a quarter to put in my pocket and buy me a candy bar. As a kid, that taught me, wow, I can have the best of both worlds. So fast forward, to college, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I don't know if you knew this, I was actually going to go into law.
Oh, wow.
So I studied Russian for 2 years in college.
Russian?
Russian.
You were going to move to Russia and be a lawyer?
I wanted to do international law. I thought everything opening up. I'm a little older than you, so the Berlin Wall hadn't fallen yet.
No, remember, I'm 20.
Right. I know. I'm a little over 20. So that was my thing, was let's do international law, specializing in Russia. This will be great. And so after I was in my third year of Russian, one day I woke up and was like, I really don't like Russian that well. I don't want to speak Russian for the rest of my life. What do I want to do? I went through I was younger, so I guess it wouldn't be midlife. It'd be more of a quarter-life crisis kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And, what do you do? So I'm looking at English, and that's where a lot more of the other side of my brain kicked in. So I lacked the gene that was terrified to stand in front of people, So I started making beer money by going down and emceeing clubs and doing stuff. I got into the right place at the right time. An agent saw me and said, I'd like you to start doing some stuff for me. And actually, the MC that I bring in, Michael Jenkins, that comes here, he was actually the first guy that took me out on tour with him. You said
turn your
cell
phone off.
I had some notes to look at. People are texting me now. And it's like, don't do that. I'm on the radio because I know you're listening. He was actually the first one that took me out on the road and took me under his wing and taught me a lot about how to be a comic. So back to your question, so I'm doing comedy, and it just kind of fell into place. And I moved to Seattle, and I'm traveling around. And I got to tell you, as like a 23-year-old, when your job is to hang out in bars.
Yeah, it's a life.
That is a great life. I got to also tell you, as you get closer to 30, when your job is to hang out in bars, not so great a life anymore.
Right.
So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at them, okay, how do you segue out of doing this? How do you do this? What skill set do you have?
Right.
And so for me, it's like, well, I'm not afraid to talk to people. That's good. So I actually, through blind luck, and I'll go ahead and tell you this, through blind luck, I bumped into a Larry Scheibel that was working out at the Air Museum. And he was commenting that, it's really tough for me that he built blimps. So when we were doing all the blimp production out there, and he said it's really tough because I'll get a group together and train them what to do, and then we'll do 2 blimps, and then we may have 6 months off, and the whole crew disperses.
Oh, sure.
And then I've got to train a whole new crew.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, where are you building these? And he said, well, I'm in Tillamook. I'm like, well, that's bizarre. I'm from Tillamook originally. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm getting tired of driving through the Rockies in the winter. Mm-hmm. If you have balloons to do in November, December, January, call me. I will come do that. And when the balloons are done, I don't care because I'll just go back out on the road again. Mm-hmm. And then work the summer on the roads when it's nicer weather. And when you have balloons in, call me.
Yeah.
And I'll come back. So I started doing that off and on for a number of years. And that parlayed into a job to where I took over public relations for the Air Museum. So now you're starting to see me not traveling as much and being here in town. So I'm looking and looking. The Edward Jones office was actually then the broker that was here was moving to Spokane. Mm-hmm. So they needed to fill this office. So they were asking around trying to find, okay, who could we get?
Right.
I told you my mom was in banking.
Sure.
She was annuities. So they called her. And they said, hey, would you be interested in coming to check out Edward Jones? And she said, I'm not. I'm getting older. I'm getting ready to retire. But my son's always loved investing. And again, through all this time, I was investing on my own, doing this.
Right.
So I went in and talked to Edward Jones, and we had a great skill set to do that I love this stuff. And I've been doing it just on my own as a hobby, for a decade at that point.
Right.
So we went through there, and the biggest thing that they said is, a lot of people, it's a mental thing to get up in the morning and come into the office when things aren't going right, and the market's down, and people are going to come in, and they're going to chew you out because you're the face.
Right.
Well, ironically, standing in front of a crowd, being able to take when you're just having one of those nights that's not working and be able to rebound and get up the next morning and go right at it, it's like the perfect skill set to have. And I happen to have the math background. It's so funny
how it married together.
There's no way I could have planned it. I like to tell people that I did plan it, but the reality is it just fell into place, and everything I did along the way trained me for what I do now. I love what I do now, but now it's also I've got these connections from my old world that I can bring in and do fun stuff like comedy
and
shows.
Still get that little part of your creative
brain
going.
And you still see me, people talk to me, and I shouldn't even say this because I don't care to MC anymore. It's one of those things. I did it for so long, and it's fine, but it's a lot of work because I'm a perfectionist, and I don't do it that often. And so it's different when you're doing it all the time.
Sure.
So there's very few MC jobs I take anymore. One is with Justin Oftermeyer with the Chamber of Commerce. I think Justin's doing a great job with that. But we have a lot of fun at that and doing stuff. And it always cracks me up when people come up afterwards and say, that was the most fun I've had in years. And all I can think is, I'm really sorry. I'm sorry that was the most fun you had because that shouldn't be. So let's bring in some comedy.
Yes,
let's bring some pros that are there constantly to do this day in, day out, and have been doing it for 30 years. Let this be your fun show. Let mine be a throwaway night.
So let's refresh everyone in case, because we kind of went off on a little tangent.
I sometimes do that.
That's okay. I asked, and I knew that was going to be a story. It was an interesting story. So, Rotary is having a comedy night on
Interesting
Saturday.
or not, my job is to fill time.
That's right. You got 12 minutes left.
Okay, we're good. Let me set a timer.
Yes.
So, Rotary's doing a comedy show, Gold Raffle, May 14th. Starts at
Saturday,
May 14th, starts at 5:30, and then it goes all the way till 10:30.
Yeah. And we should say, if you have a ticket, it says on there that they're going to the Pacific, but Pacific is still being built.
We were hoping to do it at the Pacific, and the timeline as far as getting that set up didn't work out, which is fine. So we have changed that over to the Elks.
Right.
So there may be some confusion out there, but the comedy show is at the Elks.
Yeah. So if you aren't going to the Pelican and you're listening and you have a ticket and it says you're going to Pacific Restaurant, you are not. You are going to the Elks.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll probably put a sign up over there somewhere just to make sure.
I would think that would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's going on? There's metal studs in there. What's happening?
Right.
So $40 a ticket. It includes beer, wine, food. You said Whiskey Creek Shellfish Hatchery or something is going to be at the Pelican.
Yes.
And there I've been, and to the Rotary Gold events. And it wasn't a comedy event. It was just the Rotary Gold was for a while. Just
right. And, since I got 9 minutes left.
Oh, it's fine. We can go over if we need to. 11.
Well, so it all started with, I stole this idea from a Rotary club out in Portland. And
borrowed.
Oh, I flat out stole it.
Oh, okay.
So they did a wine tasting. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I don't know that much about wines. And so we paid a flat fee to go in. And then we went around, we got to sample all these different wines. And it's like, that's fun. That's really fun. So we came back here and we took it and we set it up. And we had all these fun wines from around Oregon and set up the taste testing. And we're in Tillamook and people brought in Budweiser with them. And I realized, why are we trying to make this something that it's not?
Right.
If people have more interest in beer, let's make it a beer tasting. And so then we were able to team up with the Pelican and say, you've got all these great beers that a lot of people don't get the chance to sample.
Right.
Why not play to our strengths? I'm not going to force something down people's throats. So there will be wine there that night as well. But the focus has really switched over to the beer tasting. And letting you, when you come in, you say, well, I see that they've got an amber, and I don't know if I even like that or not.
Right.
What a great opportunity to come in. You don't have to commit to paying for it, and you sample it, and if you like it, you got a new beer. If you don't, you check it off the list.
Yep.
So that's been fantastic. So, and I know this, I'll say it out loud, that with Jeff and Mary, this has been good for them as well. As we've been able to bring in a couple hundred people to sample some of their beers just out of curiosity.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and so that used to be the whole focus and really it. And then one time it dawned on me after several years, because we've been doing this for about 15 years.
Oh, wow.
In some venue, and we played around.
Right.
We had it at different places. For a while, it was at the Pioneer Museum. And that was fun because Gary would take us all through, and you'd get a behind-the-scenes tour.
Yeah.
So it's had several fun parts. But when we used to end at 7:30, and we just ended... And
where's
then
everybody
kind of looked around, and then they'd run to,
the rendezvous or wherever. Yeah.
And then they'd run out to Denny's and eat.
Yeah.
And we realized, why are we not taking advantage of this? Because people are not done at 7:30. Why don't we make this a whole evening?
Well, especially people that have kids. I mean, if they, got a babysitter, they're not expecting to go home at 7:30. They want to, they got a babysitter, take advantage.
So that's where we've slowly tapped on to this and, added things. I think for me personally, I loved the year that we were able to work it into the Coliseum Theater because that's such a
that was really
wonderful,
fun.
wonderful venue.
Yeah,
that's just an incredible venue. But
that was right before they opened, wasn't it?
Yeah. So we were able to sneak in there. And the problem is, if people ask, why don't you do that? Sheila and Matt would love to do this, but they have contracts with the movies to where the movies basically say, you don't get our new showings unless you show them all the time. So you can't take a Saturday night off to do something different.
Right.
I understand that. I mean, it's disappointing because we would love to be in there.
Yeah.
But I want to be clear, Matt and Sheila fought very hard to get this stuff in there. And it just isn't a reality to be able to do that.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's life.
It absolutely is.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, talk about the co-op. Tillamook is farm country, and nobody serves this farming community better than the co-op. If it's time to get your 4-H or FFA animal ready for the fair, the co-op wants to help. FFA and 4-Hers get 10% off feed, grooming equipment, cages, and anything they need to get their animal ready. The co-op has been offering quality products since 1936. They're there for your needs, from fencing to plumbing to electrical. Stop by for fuel and pick up everything you need. Tillamook Farmers Co-op is always there for you. So we just talked about Rotary Gold.
Yep.
Can we talk a little bit about what the Rotary is and
absolutely.
because I know you said at fundraising we put money back into the community, but the Rotary also travels internationally.
Yes.
And helps out others in other countries.
So before I say that, just so I don't forget, if people are not available this Saturday, remember, we're starting to do major events like this about 3 times a year. So the first weekend in November, we're putting on a casino night.
Yep. Which was super fun last time we went.
And we run a theme. People may have seen things with the 70s theme, and the year before we did a Monte Carlo theme, and we haven't decided on a theme this year. We did a New Year's Eve show of comedy. And so we try not to do comedy each time. We try to vary this stuff up a little bit. So I just want to make sure that people know that we've got that coming.
And we should also say that every Tuesday from noon to 1, there's a lunch at the Rendezvous.
Yes.
That's today.
Yes.
Open to the public. You're welcome to come and join. And
today's program is Matt Anderson. And one of the things Rotary has helped with, I mentioned this backpack program, is getting the concept being that there's some students that just don't have food around the house.
Right.
And you target them by saying...
Or it's like over the weekend,
Over the weekend, right. And so you target them, the ones that get free and reduced lunches.
Right.
And so during the week at least, they're able to get some food.
That's
but what
cool.
happens over the weekend?
Right.
So Rotary is teamed with several different things, but we'll talk about just Rotary here, in getting food into the kids' hands. And so while doing that, I was at a Oregon Community Foundation meeting, and they were saying, we really want to target dental supplies into schools. And I'm sitting there, and so I said out loud, we've already got a program where we're targeting at-risk youth or needy children. Why don't we focus on that? So Matt has taken that on to get toothbrushes and toothpaste and dental floss and this stuff put into these bags. Yeah. And so that goes out into the schools as well. So he's going to be talking about that.
Cool.
So sometimes it's not even writing a check for some of it. It's just bringing the different groups together.
Right. And if somebody had something like that where they wanted to go talk to the Rotary and talk about their business or talk about an event they have coming up or whatever, they can contact you or Rachel or anybody.
And so right now, we're about to do a changeover. So Lisa Anderson is the one that's doing that right now. Nick Troxel will be taking over in July.
Gotcha.
So more than likely, if somebody came in now, those speakers are already booked until July. You're probably going to want to talk to Nick.
Yeah.
But you can call me always, and I'll put you in the right direction, and that's fine. But you were mentioning the overseas,
right?
Because, and this is a lot of fun for us. We for years did all this stuff and really tried to stay local and do everything we could within the local community. At the same time, we'd always talked about we should do something more on an international level. And, we do some things, and I had a discussion here a week ago. Somebody saw my polio pin on End Polio Now.
Right.
And they said, well, how old is that pin? And it's like, well, no, polio is still
it's
in the
still
world.
A thing.
But that's Rotary's big push. And literally, there's only 3 countries that still have polio within them, and we're trying to get that eradicated so then that money can move to something else.
Sure.
So that's something international, but that's kind of a thing where you write a check and then you send it away.
Yeah.
And we, if you know me and you know the other Rotary members, we're more hands-on people. It's like, let's do something where we can get our hands dirty. So we Sue Cudd really took the lead on this. She had contact within Guatemala. So they started going down to Guatemala and taking a group of people, and it started out like 8 people and then 10 and 12, and going down there and working with a lot of the indigenous people. And so last year I went on this trip, and there were about 21 of us, and it was amazing.
Not just adults either, right? There were kids that went too.
No, there were kids as well. And I'm hoping to take Stella this year. We've got to look at some stuff to make sure it works out. But ideally, I love the idea of grabbing these kids and taking them down there
and seeing how other people live.
This is what we have.
Right.
And you've got to understand, these are, as I said, indigenous people up in the mountainous region.
Yeah.
These are people that do not speak Spanish. They speak the old, like Quiche, the old Indian Mayan languages. So there's times we would go out and we would have several interpreters, one to interpret from Quiche to Spanish and then Spanish to English so that we could communicate back and forth. But we're out there, and it's really nice to go out into their homes and work with them. And I want to be clear, we've really teamed with, 1, the Rotary in that area, and 2, with Mayan families. And I think it's important to have...
Is that an organization?
That's an organization,
Gotcha.
And they're based there so that they can put us in the right direction. Because the last thing I want to do is come in and say, you need water filters.
Right.
And then put in water filters.
And they don't get
only
used.
to find out that the next group coming through is doing the water filter Mark II, and everything we did was irrelevant.
Right.
So to me, it's really important. We've got the contacts now. We're talking to the local charities, and we're doing things that actually make a difference. That's huge. So this club alone has put 50 cooking stoves in people's homes.
Yeah.
And you look and you say, wow, that's, 50 is not that big a number in the grand scheme of things. But these are people that I mean, literally, and we've got pictures, and I'll be talking about that. I'm trying to remember when I'm going to be doing a presentation coming up. But literally, you walk in, and this is the old style dirt floor, no roof, piece of tin. And to be able to do something as simple as put a cooking stove in there is huge. It changes their lives.
I know I saw pictures somewhere on Facebook, but I don't remember if it was on the Rotary's page or somebody else's page.
I think Rotary has some on there, and then on mine, I went and I was trying to take pictures the first day as we were putting a stove together. So I would go step by step on what the whole thing did, and every night I was trying to post something of this is what we did today.
Yeah.
We'd meet with... go in and go through a co-op where women were weaving and watching that really from the first step, because you don't run down and buy yarn.
Right.
They create that.
Right.
They create the dyes.
Yeah.
And it was just fascinating to me to watch
and
that
create the
go
dyes
on.
from natural sources that are around.
Completely.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
and some
not
of
like
it-
they're buying bottles of Rit.
Oh yeah. And this is me, the little boy coming out of me again. I was fascinated. One of them, they were insects. They were basically like sow bugs, and they were crushing it up and making this color out of it and making a dye out of that.
Yeah.
And that just, again, fascinated me that they're out collecting that.
Yeah.
We went through coffee plantations where it's all hand picked and just amazing. And again, seeing the poverty there was just unbelievable. And feeling like you're doing something was nice. And again, we're rolling up the sleeves and getting our hands dirty with it.
So we should say Rotary, your money goes locally, but then it also helps internationally.
Right. And I get defensive on this because people say, why, when there's so much problems locally, why do you go internationally? We do stuff locally. We absolutely do. But there's nothing wrong, in my opinion, with taking 5% or 10% and saying we want to go and help somebody else, not just the ones here in our local community, and find that balance. And what that balance is, I don't know exactly. I feel comfortable with the one we found. But yes, we do a lot of stuff locally. We also do stuff internationally as well.
And real quick, because we're out of time, but I do want to mention, when folks see on Memorial Day and Veterans Day the flags in town, that's the Rotary.
That's Rotary.
Right? Yeah.
And so if you have any interest in having a flag in front of your business or home or whatnot, let me know, and I'll get you in contact with the right person there, because that is a fundraiser for us as well.
Sure. So the Rotary event, well, I'll mention it here at the end of my announcements. Tomorrow we have Tom Connaughton and Ruth LaFrance from Tillamook Revitalization Association. They're going to be here visiting about the Downtown Design Fair on May 24th. That sounds interesting. Don't forget, senior meals, noon every weekday at the Kiowana Community Center in Pacific City. Cost us $3 for seniors, $6.75 for everyone else. Tonight, there is an annual ham dinner at St. Albans Episcopal Church on 6th and Pacific from 5 to 7. A diabetes workshop begins this Thursday. Program is designed to help the diabetic manage their condition. They will cover monitoring blood sugars, nutrition, activity, stress, medication usage, and problem-solving techniques. It's from 1:30 to 4 on Thursdays through June 16th at Northwest Senior and Disabled Services out on 3rd Street. There is no charge, but registration is required, so make sure you call 815-2270. Friday night is the 18th Annual Trash Art Show Preview Night, from 5 to 7 at the NCRD in Nehalem. Party with the artists. It's a fun night out. First dibs on the art, yummy things to eat and drink. All things support Cardam. Can't make it to the opening party? Never fear. The show is open to the public from 10 to 4 on Saturday and 10 to 1 on Sunday. It's free admission. And then we have the Rotary show this weekend. Tickets are $40. Gets you food, drink, beer, comedy show, wine. Who should they contact if they want? You?
Any Rotary member is fine if you know a Rotary member. Otherwise, I have tickets as well.
Show up at the rendezvous at noon today.
So Rachel Haggerty has a lot of tickets. Nick Troxel has tickets. I have tickets.
And
come by the rendezvous and you just pick up tickets there. Right, That'd be great.
As Maria mentioned at the end of Dairyland Varieties, there's a spay and neuter clinic this weekend. Was it this weekend? In Nehalem, but they need more animals to be able to hold it. You can call United Paws at 842-5663. And there is Tapa's got The Great Gatsby this weekend, Friday and Saturday at 7, Sunday at 2 p.m. Tickets are at Diamond Art Jewelers, 842-7940. Again, happy birthday to Miss Maria. And Steve Bauer and John Yank. Thanks, Brett, for coming in. This was fun.
Oh, yes.
I got to learn things about you that I didn't know.
Yay!
And thank you, Tillamook, for listening.